Even in my youth, when I was compelled to take on the full responsibility of the governance, I began to initiate fundamental changes in Tibet. Unfortunately, these were interrupted because of the political upheavals that took place. Nevertheless, following our arrival in India as refugees, we have democratized our political systems and adopted a democratic charter that sets guidelines for our exile administration. Even our political leadership is now directly chosen by the people on a 5-year term basis. Moreover, we have been able to preserve and practice most of the important aspects of our culture and spirituality in exile. This is due to largely to the kinds of Indian government and its people. Another major concern of the Chinese government is its lack of legitimacy in Tibet. While I cannot rewrite the past, mutually agreeable solution could bring legitimacy. And I am certainly prepared to use my position and influence among the Tibetan people to bring consensus on this question. So I would also like to restate here that I have no hidden agenda. My decision not to accept any political office in a future Tibet is final. The Chinese authorities assert that I have a hostility towards China and that I actively seek to undermine China's welfare. Sometimes Chinese accuse us that we are instrument of Western anti-Chinese forces. I don't think. Here, our supporters are also good friends of China. So, I have always encouraged world leaders to engage with China. I have supported China's entry into WTO and awarding the Summer Olympics in Beijing. I choose to do so with the hope that China would become a more open, tolerant, and responsible country. A major obstacle in our ongoing dialogue has been the conflicting perspectives on the current situation inside Tibet. So, in order to have a common understanding of the real situation, my envoys in their 6th meeting with their Chinese counterparts suggested that we be given an opportunity to send study groups to look at the actual reality on the ground in the spirit of seeking truth from facts. This could help both sides to move beyond each other's contentions. The time has come for our dialogue with Chinese leadership to progress towards the successful implementation of a meaningful autonomy for Tibet, as guaranteed in the Chinese Constitution and detailed in the Chinese State Council White Paper on Regional Ethnic Autonomy of Tibet. Let me take this opportunity to once again appeal to the Chinese leadership to recognize the grave problems in Tibet, the genuine grievances and the deep resentments of the Tibetan people inside Tibet, and to have the courage and the wisdom to address these problems realistically in the spirit of reconciliation. To you, my American friends, I appeal to you to make every effort to seek ways to help convince the Chinese leadership of my sincerity and help make our dialogue process move forward. Since you have recognized my efforts to promote peace, understanding, and nonviolence, I would like to respectfully share a few related thoughts. I believe this is precisely the time that the United States must increase its support to those efforts that help bring greater peace and understanding, the harmony between peoples and cultures. As a champion of democracy and freedom, you must continue to ensure the success of those endeavors aimed at safeguarding basic human rights in the world. Another area where we need U.S. leadership is environment. As we all know, today our Earth is definitely warming up, and many scientists tell us that our own action is to a large part responsible. So each one of us must, in whatever way we can, use our talents and resources to make a difference so that we can pass on to our future generation a planet that is at least safe to live on. Many of the world's problems are ultimately rooted in inequality and injustice, whether economic, political, or social. Ultimately, this is a question of the well-being of all of us, whether it is the suffering of poverty in one part of the world, or whether it is a denial of freedom and basic human rights in another part. We should never perceive these events in total isolation. Eventually, their repercussions will be felt everywhere. I would like to appeal to you to take a leadership role in an effective international action in addressing these problems, including the huge economic imbalance. I believe the time has now come to address all these global issues from the perspective of the oneness of humanity and from a profound understanding of the deeply interconnected nature of our today's world. In conclusion, on behalf of 6 million Tibetan people, I wish to take this opportunity to recognize from the depth of my heart the support extended to us by the American people and their government. Your continued support is critical. I thank you once again for the high honor that you have bestowed on me today. Thank you very much.